A few years ago, I wrote an article arguing for the value of qualitative description. I'll put a link to that article in the description of this video. Margaret Sandalowski wrote a similar article about 15 years before that. Other authors have also argued for the value of qualitative description. Given how valuable this approach seems to be, why is it that qualitative description often seems to get overlooked? In this video, I'll look at the pros and the cons of qualitative description and its place within qualitative research more generally.
Qualitative description is a straightforward approach that uses statement-close analysis. Qualitative description projects can give useful accounts of parts of our social world. They offer descriptions of situations presented in terms that are understandable and which people are more likely to agree are accurate. These types of projects are useful in applied fields where rigorous accounts of people's stated experiences, opinions, preferences, etc. are needed to direct policy or program change, or we better want to understand complex situations or circumstances. Qualitative descriptions can identify issues that can be explored further through other methodological approaches. These types of descriptions are often exactly what many non-researchers, for example policymakers or participants, want, expect, and can easily use from qualitative research. So who could be opposed to all of that? Qualitative description is one methodological approach. In terms of its type of analysis of qualitative data, it is likely the most basic approach available to researchers. While its basicness makes it a good place to start with qualitative research, it can also be seen by more senior researchers as being fairly limited. Statement-close analysis leaves unexplored a lot of richness that can be potentially analyzed in the data. It could seem like we're just eating the icing off the cake and leaving the rest unexplored. Often looking at the informational content of statements misses the most significant findings. Rather than stopping the analysis at what was said, getting below the surface of the conversation is sometimes what is needed to get at what's really going on. There's a vibrant tradition within social research, particularly within qualitative research, that moves beyond describing society and pushes towards societal change. Projects that aim just to describe situations or people's opinions can seem too conservative or not very useful to researchers committed to more critical or activist programs of research. Qualitative research offers a lot more than producing descriptions of what people say is going on in the world. Because descriptions are often what non-researchers want from qualitative data, some researchers can feel pressure towards doing qualitative description projects, even though they feel this approach is limited. There's a tendency for some researchers to push back and want to make a distinction between their research approaches and more basic descriptions based on statement-close analysis of the data. Some have even disparaged more basic descriptions as mere commissioned research. This pushback can go so far as to propose definitions of qualitative research that aim to exclude basic descriptions. For example, defining qualitative research as only studying the meanings people give to things. Because of these reasons, many methodological textbooks omit presenting qualitative description as a full-fledged methodological option. While recognizing that there's much more that researchers can do with qualitative data, qualitative description is the most appropriate approach for addressing many questions researchers want to address. As Sandalowski points out, even though researchers may try to call it something else, they are often actually conducting qualitative description projects. Embracing qualitative description as one potential methodological approach will allow researchers to be clearer on the methodological approach they're actually using. This clarity should help them to construct even more consistent study designs. There's unnecessary complications that come from trying to find qualitative research in a way that omits or excludes basic qualitative descriptions. These more complicated ways of defining qualitative research make it harder for many stakeholders to engage with it. Excluding qualitative description from what is seen as acceptable qualitative research also limits what academic researchers can do with qualitative data. Such an exclusion limits both the academic and societal benefits that can arise from engaging with qualitative research. Rather than challenging other methodological approaches, embracing qualitative description as one viable option should highlight the strengths of other approaches for addressing different types of research questions. Qualitative description is a limited but valuable methodological approach. It may be the only approach that certain researchers need. For others, it can hopefully serve as a gateway to more sophisticated approaches designed to engage with other aspects of our social world. While some researchers may feel that it's too basic and not what they want to do, I still feel it's better to recognize qualitative description as a legitimate methodological approach that is useful for researchers in some situations. Over this playlist, I've described what qualitative description is and why it is useful for many researchers interested in exploring aspects of our social world. It is an approach that I think we should better recognize as an appropriate methodology when using qualitative data. Hopefully, it's an approach that fits with some of the questions you'd like to explore. Best of luck with your research.